YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kikai Sentai Zenkaige episode 38. So this episode has our characters preparing for Christmas, as well as Kaito's birthday, which is upcoming, which we actually see is happening next week. And when that's happening, we get striked by the two monsters of the week. There's actually two this week, and one of them is a reused monster, which I think we might have reused twice, unless my imagination, Zenkaiger's budget showing again. The core conflict this week comes in the form of one of the monster's powers being able to bring back characters' ancestors. So we see all throughout the town, everybody's ancestor is brought back. Not like all of them, but just one. And that leads to one version of the ancestors being brought back for most of our characters. Like for Stacy, it's his mom, which is the biggest plot point, I think, for this episode in regards to how this works. You have a grandparent pirate ancestor that's just a stereotypical joke pirate for the two Kaiser siblings. And then you have Juran's grandfather, great-great-grandfather, and that's all we get. We don't get one for everybody, but we kind of get one for each major section, I guess. Might have missed why everybody didn't get it unless it's a budget reason. I'm not sure why Kaito didn't have one, and I'm not sure why they didn't want to do one for the other characters. I mean, just Juran, it kind of functioned as for a character for Juran, but also for Kikinoids in general, and talking about Kikinoids' history and how the Tojigento have always been awful, even since their day. But I thought it would have been nice to have one for every one of the characters. It's honestly comedically humorous to have this, basically Juran with Santa beard. And it was really funny to me visually, and I imagine if they had done one for the other three, it would have been something very similar and budget saving, basically just, Vroom with cotton balls on his face. But I thought it would have been nice to give each one of them a little something, and I guess Kaito has enough family issues that we didn't need to have one, but I'm not sure why they didn't do that. I mean, we hear enough about Kaito, so I would have much rather had one for the other Kikinoids because I think that they could use some more character development and growth. I think it was a pretty good device, though, because it was kind of your of the week fun plot that brought some humor along with it, but it also allowed some opportunity for some character stuff. I think specifically with Stacy, I still feel like they're spinning their wheels with him a little bit, but I feel that this was one of the more meaty episodes we've gotten from him in a while in regards to his redemption arc, just because, as I've mentioned, I feel every episode we just do the same thing over and over, and this gave us a little bit of a different flavor with it, and it was really interesting to see. I feel like they could have done more with both Two Kaiser and Juran's. It gave us little bits of insight. I feel like Two Kaisers was mainly played for comedy, and I think there could have been a little more to that. I almost found myself wishing that this device had been used for a two-parter. I mean, Sentai and Toku don't do two-parters, but I mean a plot that went on for 2 weeks, as I think if everybody would have gotten one, we could have stretched this out a little bit and used it for both entertaining purposes and character purposes. And it was interesting to see the scene between the mom and Stacy and his dad, who's I've taken wives on many planets. I'm like, damn, what a gangster. And it was just really interesting to see that dynamic come to play, and it was interesting to see the villain's plan affect one of the villains and kind of backfire on them in a way. There's some interesting stuff and some fun stuff all around with that story, even if I think it could have been played up a little bit more. Then in the final battle, Kaito, as he's fighting his dad again, I thought this was is going to be another story where he's come back, Dad, come back. I'm like, we've done this 3 times already in the last 3 minutes. But he's oh, I'm fighting my dad right now, just like Stacy's gonna have to fight his mom, because they find out the whole point of this plan was to get these ancestors around people that trust them, and then they flip a switch and they become Terminators. And he realizes that the mom's probably gonna be attacking Stacy, so both he and Hakkaiser go to save him, which was a nice moment for, all those relationships in general. And so they save him while the other Rangers deal with the threat of the week, and then, we blow it up. And then there's some kind of funny stuff with Two Kaiser being this is how the modern pirates handle it. I feel with his, most of all, I mean, I guess the show is known for being funny, but I felt that the old granddad pirate was almost too cartoony and a little bit over the top for me, and I wish there was a little bit of a balance there, just as a side note. And we end the episode off with Juran just kind of reflecting on his time meeting his ancestor again, and them kind of getting back to normal and celebrating Christmas, and then a nice scene where Stacy's kind of thinking, reflecting on the experience as well and thinking am I really like my father? Which again, I thought this was one of the best Stacy episodes in a little while. Not that the Stacy stuff has been awful. As I've mentioned multiple times, I'm being repetitive in mentioning it, I feel that his story's just been going in a circle. So I felt that it was nice that this episode felt like it was actually doing something different and furthering things a little bit more in a meaningful and a different way. But overall, I thought very solid episode. I would give it a 4 out of 5. Good mix of a plot of the week with some more actual character and plot stuff. Although I think this could have been used to greater effect both in this episode and possibly stretching it out over multiple parts. But what did you guys think of this episode? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.